It's time for Silver Linings with Greg Neal, physical gold and silver expert and wholesale supplier, answering your questions about how and where to store your hard-earned money with a rational sense of peace in troubled times.
This is Greg from the Gold Ore Store. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Silver Linings in historic St. George, Utah, 7 North Main Street, the Gold Ore Store, your source for gold and silver now. Melody Neal and Greg Neal here today. Hi, Mel.
Hey, welcome, guys. We're so excited to be here.
We are very excited. There are incredible things happening in the world here very, very soon, folks, and we wanted to share with you what is happening. There are amazing things occurring in the early part of September regarding the entire world, and we're going to share with you much of this information. A lot of it comes through Strategic Intelligence, which is Jim Rickards of Agora Financials Group. And I am going to just read off some of this information, and Melody and I'll kind of talk back and forth about different issues. But right now we're going to discuss the rest in peace of the petrodollar. Many of you are not aware of this, but we are about to lose our dollar. And it's, March 1975, Nixon era to September 4th, 2016. Now, did you hear me? That was September 4, 2016, just literally less than a couple weeks away. And we are going to tell you what this is all about. On September 4, 2016, the G20 leaders, that's the global 20 leaders of the largest industrial nations in the world, will meet in Hangzhou, China, under the leadership of G20 President, I think it's Xi Jinping is his name, who is also the General Secretary of the Communist Party of China. Did you hear that, folks? He's actually the presiding officer this year, this season for the G20. This meeting with the other leaders will metaphorically kowtow to the new Chinese emperor and recognize China as a co-head of the global monetary system alongside the United States. On September 30th, 2016, at the close of business that day, the inclusion of the Chinese yuan in the SDR, special drawing rights basket, goes live. Melody, you want to kind of share what that's about?
Well, I wanted to share about the announcement that the Rothschild family made just a few days ago.
Okay, we can let's
because
get to
that's
that.
about the monetary collapse. I mean, we are witnessing the collapse of our monetary system.
It really does, and it kind of feeds into, well, it doesn't kind of, it absolutely feeds into what we do in providing folks discount wholesale gold and silver products as a hedge, a literal hedge against this literal falling dollar that we're dealing with right now. Folks, we don't have any more time to be messing around with this issue anymore. You may not realize this, but you've been putting this off because we know who you are out there. You're basically putting off something that you don't have any more time to put off. If you want to make a difference in your life and have something that's actually of true value to store that value in, look at the precious metals. Particularly silver right now. Silver is just absolutely ridiculously low. Recently, we've had a drawdown, which the market actually takes the shorts, which means they're making money on the drawing down of the value. And remember too, folks, that when the price goes down on silver, it isn't about the real true value of actual silver, hard goods, physical silver. It's actually what they're doing is they're trading huge lots and blocks of 5,000 ounces in paper. Yes, paper, folks. They're called derivatives. This is not real money that is being transferred. This is paper. These are no different than stock certificates other than the fact that they're even a bigger gamble.
Well, yeah, and we have this situation where the feds have passed really loose, the law.
Yeah, it's okay. You mean economic, just the rules and regulations.
Well, their
of how
rates are too low, and they're creating inflation.
Right.
They've made the monetary policies really, really loose, which gave them the ability to print money more and more and more under this false pretense, to pay a debt that can never be paid.
Right.
Then you've got the Rothschild family that comes out just 2 days ago stating that the central banking system was a failed mistake,
right,
and that they have increased their portfolio of physical gold by 8%.
8%. Yeah, these are
this
trillionaires,
is
folks.
maddening to me.
These are not billionaires. We're not talking about Zuckerbergs or Buffett's or Bill Gates or anything like that. We're talking about trillionaires.
Head of the world monetary system.
Correct.
They
Through the IMF.
have capitalized off of it. We have continued to work and work and work. They're stealing our money.
They've sucked out our resource, our energy supply.
Well, and they can't put hot air under it anymore, guys. This monetary system is collapsing.
It's over. It's over. I will rephrase again. September 4th is D-Day, guys. It's it. September 4th will be the day the dollar died. And not with a bang, but with a whimper, as T.S. Eliot once said. So that's exactly what's happening here, folks. You've got to realize, and please listen, on September 4th, our world is changing dramatically. If you aren't into something to actually protect your assets, and you're holding a bunch of Federal Reserve notes, it is now time to get out of them. Get out of the Federal Reserve notes and get into something that you can actually rely on. And that has always been, all throughout time, the precious metals. This is incredibly important. So September 30th, which is just a few days at the end of September, at the close of business, the inclusion of the Chinese yuan in the SDR basket goes live. I'm not making this stuff up, folks. This is the real deal. This is actually what is happening. They're getting, at that point, basically the status of what the U.S. dollar has had basically since 1944, and that's the world reserve's currency status. The Chinese yuan will have that same status. It will be alongside the U.S. dollar. There will be some conversions and changes that we've talked about before happening here very, very soon. So October 7 on 2016, this year, folks, the IMF will hold its annual meeting in Washington, D.C. to consider additional steps to expand the role of these special drawing rights. This is like a new kind of money as a way of looking at it, and make China an integral part of the new world money order.
Now, we've had some big players in the industry like Morgan Stanley, the Rothschilds, Goldman Sachs. They've all come out in different news media stating that the dollar's collapsing, that we're going to see a 40% inflation rate, and to get out of stocks and to start buying gold and silver. We aren't alone in our strong feelings about why this would be a good investment.
We've been talking about this actually for years. This is the first time we've had a public venue to actually really discuss what we talk about in our store on a daily basis. This is important stuff, folks. This is like most people aren't even realizing how much this is going to affect them. But by October 1, basically, this is going to hit the fan, guys. Things are going to change in our world dramatically, and it's not just hearsay. These are real things that are already planned, in motion, and happening. And so you've got to be prepared. So over the next several years, post October 7th, basically, we'll see the issuance of these SDRs, special drawing rights, to transnational organizations such as the UN, the World Bank, to be spent on climate change infrastructure, other elite pet projects outside the supervision of any democratically elected bodies. Did you hear that? So there are plans going on and always have been with regard to how the world is going to continue to operate. And it's time for us to step up and make a difference. And one of the things that you can do is get yourself some gold, some silver, the precious metals in any form whatsoever, and get them now. We have never felt, Mel, have you ever felt like there's been more of an urgency than there is right now?
No, I just, my heart goes out to these individuals who are also feeling the energy, and they're coming in, they're talking to us about it, and they're walking out without it.
Because it's 50
fear.
cents more than what they want to pay right now, or 20 cents. Wait until you guys see what's about to happen. When gold shoots up to $100 an ounce, I don't think you're going to be crying out there about 25 cents or 50 cents more than the other guy. You're going to be basically clamoring for any silver you can get your hands on. And us as dealers, it's going to be more and more difficult to even get the product.
Well, just think about it. Just 7 months ago, gold prices began to move upwards from its December to January low of $1,050 per ounce. Mm-hmm. That was just a few months ago.
Exactly.
And you're $300 above that now.
Correct.
And this was right around the time the physical gold flows began reversing. Now, I don't know if people are aware of this, but the gold used to flow from east to west. Mm-hmm. Now it's
changed
directions. Yeah. People are finally waking up to the fact that the global economy is not strong. It's just not strong enough.
We're going to come back to this in just a moment. Folks, just hang with us, and we'll be right back. Traditional investments are losing their appeal. There is a process going on that is changing mindsets. Gold and silver is the purest money on earth. It can't be printed or created. Do you want to protect your wealth with insurance and give your family peace of mind? The Gold Ore Store, now is the time.
The Gold Ore Store, for your family's peace of mind. The Gold Ore Store, located on Main Street in historic downtown St. George.
Welcome back, folks. This is Greg from the Gold Ore Store. Melody, my dear wife of 29 years, had to think about that for a minute.
Yeah, you better not forget that.
Is right next to me, as she always has been all these years. I love her. I want to let you know that this is the Gold Ore Store, St. George, Utah. This is Silver Linings you're listening to. This is a very, very special show because we talk about the actual truth about what's going on in the economy and how it affects you. Our dollar is in decline. And many of you are not necessarily feeling this because of the fact that there's so much stuff that you're handed in mainstream media on a regular daily basis. It's almost like a feeding frenzy to put out a bunch of ridiculous stories that actually mean nothing.
You may not be aware of this, but the next 6 weeks will mark one of the most significant transformations in the international monetary system in over 30 years. And so since the dollar is still the linchpin of the system, the dollar itself will be affected. And, we know that the Federal Reserve has propped up the dollar for many, 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 many years, but it's gotten to the point where they just can't blow hot air under it anymore. We're not backed by the oil reserves.
Right.
We're not backed by gold and silver. So why don't you talk a little bit about why you feel there's going to be a monetary collapse with the dollar bill, and we're going to go into hyperinflation?
Yeah, I'm gonna read a little piece from Jim Rickards in the Agora Financial Letter. He states that one of the most momentous wealth transfers in world history is happening in real time. Yet it's happening behind a veil of technical jargon, state secrecy, and hidden agendas that make it difficult for everyday investors to discern. Those who can understand this wealth transfer and use it to their advantage stand to make enormous gains. This wealth transfer will be caused by the decline of the petrodollar and the rise of a new benchmark for pricing energy and wealth, which he's going to talk about here later on. The transition has already begun. Most analysts are ignoring it. On September 4th, 2016, it will become too blatant to ignore, folks. This is what I'm talking about. We'll get into this a little bit deeper. The move away from the petrodollar is happening right now, in part because the dollar is losing its status as the world reserve currency. However, those waiting for a single defining event when the dollar ceases to hold all value overnight will be disappointed. That's not how currencies die. The process, it's taken over 3 decades to play out.
Yeah, it started back in the 1950s with the Bretton Woods Conference of 1944. So this isn't something that's just being sprung on us all of a sudden, guys.
Yep.
This has been brewing for a long time.
Yep, exactly. So most investors didn't realize what was happening until it was too late. By then, much of their wealth has been destroyed, and the same thing will happen for many investors as the dollar fades. The time to take action and to preserve your wealth is right now, folks. That's why, we do this show for a dual purpose. Number one, to assist you in getting educated about what's available to you. Number two, we're also a business. We don't pick any bones here. We literally are here to assist us. We're a small business in a small town called St. George, Utah, and we're here for a reason, to assist you and to assist us in small business. It's like it's a mutually beneficial relationship, and we provide items and things that can make a difference in your life. Just even having even 1 ounce of silver may be the difference for you. I mean, what's going to happen when that day comes where the Federal Reserve note is no longer accepted and you have nothing else to offer? What are you going to do? How are you going to handle that?
Now, you might say, well, we've never been here before, but back in 1971, we had that dollar crisis back in 71. Mm-hmm. This is feeling a lot like that, only it's worse, isn't it?
That's in August. Basically, Nixon took us off the gold standard. And literally, we've been going down ever since. You're basically using a fiat, or let's use another term, fake currency or fake money system. Fractional reserve banking has not worked. The Rothschilds have acknowledged that, actually. They've just recently, as Melody said in the last segment, they basically have stated it's been a failed experiment, I believe was their words that they used. How's that feel, folks, to feel like you're an experiment?
Yeah, well, they laughed all the way to the bank with their trillions and trillions of profit off of that failed experiment. Only reason why they're admitting to it now is because they were convicted in a court of law for manipulating the gold and silver market and manipulating the foreign currency trade.
Yep, exactly. So, and all the big trading houses, Goldman Sachs was recently fined $36 million. By the Fed over leaked documents, that they didn't want to actually get out about these backroom deals that go on.
You gotta love the internet, because they can't shut down. I mean, we know that the news medias are controlled by the people with power and money, but they can't control the little guys leaking information and getting it out there to where the people can be educated in a way that they've never been able to be educated before.
It's really true, folks. We have literally just had the blinds put over us, and we wanted to talk about what is this this changing system that's about to literally been thrown on us. That we have nothing to say about. Literally, the Chinese are coming into a power play, folks. This is a bigger power play than we could have ever imagined. But the interesting thing about this thing's actually been in process. The IMF, or the International Monetary Fund, through the World Bank, basically, has been planning this for almost a good decade, as far as implementing what they call the special drawing rights, which is really kind of a new form of, quote, money, unquote. And these SDRs are what's going to replace or be in a basket of currencies, or what's going to replace this world reserve currency status. One thing you must realize, we basically let's say we earned this world reserve currency status as the United States dollar because we won the war for the world. And so the Second World War was and all this was actually put together in 1944 before the war actually even ended. And so basically what it was everyone sat around in a room and decided that, because the U.S. was responsible, or actually, made the difference in winning the great Second World War, that they would be given this gift of basically, in a sense, controlling the entire world's economy through this manipulation and power play of the U.S. dollar. We are losing that, folks. Is this getting to you? Are you realizing what is happening here? The dollar no longer has the value as it once did. And literally, it has been on a downcline ever since we actually hired the Federal Reserve System to manage our economy. It's a disaster. It's a train wreck. And again, this show is in total service to assist you in realizing you don't have any more time, folks. You do not have any more time. It is D-Day, literally. It is time to make a choice. Do you want to continue to hold on to those notes and wait for a lower price on the precious metals or any other thing that you're looking to actually invest in? Or do you take a stand for yourself and for your family and for your prodigy? You know, we're at a point now at a junction that I've never even felt at this level before. But because of September's events and literally at the very start of October, the Chinese yuan is a part of the global currency system. By October 7. It's just done.
We've been really beating up the dollar here today, but let's talk about the bond market. Let's talk about the stocks, because it's going to affect those as well.
It will. And we're hearing the information that we're getting is anywhere from a 40% all the way down to even an 80% decline in the stock market.
Yeah.
We've had many people come into our store who have acknowledged their wealth and basically stated that they're going to take just a small percentage of their wealth and actually invest it in the metals. And then they walk out the door and go on vacation, and we're not seeing any action.
That you know of, they could be buying it somewhere else. Wherever you're getting it, kudos to you. Just get it.
Fair enough. I mean, it's kind of like it's one of those things where, if we can serve you, we will. Our prices are the best around. Everyone acknowledges that once they come in and do business with us. We're here to serve you that way. We can get you any product under the sun that you could possibly mention. As far as gold and silver is concerned, we literally have thousands of different styles and types of products and weights available to you in those two genres particularly. I can also get platinum if you're interested in that.
When we come back, we're going to talk about why having physical gold sitting in a safe is better than having thousands of dollars sitting in a savings account.
Have you lost trust in the government? Have you lost trust in your bank or investment portfolio? Are you just flat out scared right now about what is coming on the horizon? If you're ready for another choice in where and how to store your hard-earned money, Greg Neal, physical gold and silver expert and wholesale supplier, has answers and a rational sense of peace in troubled times.
Now is the time to make a change. This is Greg from the Gold Ore Store. Come in or call 435-703-9119. Okay, folks, so we're back. Thank you for being here. This is the Gold Ore Store at 7 North Main Street. Phone number 435-703-9119. And that 911 is your emergency call right now to actually get out there and do something. What I mean by that is you got to realize that on September 30th, the Chinese yuan is actually in the basket to create itself as being a world reserve currency status. Do you hear what I'm saying, folks? It is no longer a bunch of conjecture and made-up stuff. It is really happening. September 30 is the day.
What is the world currency status? What do you mean by that?
It gives them the right to actually have all other currencies converted into their currency before purchases can be made.
Purchases in export, import?
Import, export, oil, everything. Everything, folks. That's what that right gives you is actually all right now, the way things set, even at this moment, for most of the world, with the exception of the BRICS nations, you as another country, in order for you to buy oil, even from Saudi Arabia, and that's what this has been all about all along, is basically your dollar or your currency must be converted into a U.S. dollar in order to make that purchase of multi-millions of dollars of oil. This same status will now be given to the Chinese yuan. We are the only ones that have had this status for about 75 years. So it's a long, long time, folks, and we're going to lose that status.
So before we broke for break, we were talking about why it's more important to have gold in your safe than money in the bank.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, gold is money, my friends. And I know if you listen to this show, you know that gold and silver are money. And so because it's money and it's always been seen as money, this is kind of like, it's almost like a no-brainer. It's like when people think about actually stores of wealth, what do they think of, Mel?
Gold. Yeah, gold jewelry, gold rings, gold in your ears and in your nose and in on your toes.
Exactly. And all of the countries around the world, when you talk about wealth, especially like in the Middle East, the Middle East, the eastern part of Asia, India, gold is wealth.
Well, I want to point out too that if you have a savings account and you have a statement, look and see how much interest you've made on your money since December.
Good point.
Because in December, between December and January of this year, gold dropped to $1,050 for every ounce of gold. Mm-hmm. Now, I know that seems like a lot of money, but it went all the way up to $1,600 an ounce. Did your savings account jump $600 at any time this year?
Right.
It's trending up and up and up. And because the dollar, we talked about this, the dollars are going to collapse. Mm-hmm. It has to.
Yeah.
Because of what they've done with their policies and their printing of fake debt notes. Gold is expected, and silver. When we talk gold, we're talking silver too, guys.
We are.
You can get into gold for as little as $65 for a small 1 gram
bar or round.
Mm-hmm. And you can get into silver for as little as $5 for a little 1/10 round.
It's really true.
You don't have to have a lot of money to secure a little bit of a security fund in the event that a meltdown.
I have to laugh because so many out there are just these cheapskates that basically, think that, they can play this market and, 50 cents makes all the difference in the world for them, about buying, 20 ounces of silver, a tube of silver, or a larger amount. It's laughable only because of this, folks. The prices are going to go up so dramatically that you will be begging. You'll be begging for $50 silver here very soon. So stop it. It's time to actually start getting real out there, folks. Just because we live in Utah doesn't mean that everything that you buy either has to be free or close to free, when you're looking at it. We are a market. We actually sell a product at a discount. We're there to serve you. We just want you to know that what we have is valuable. It isn't, we're not talking about a 25 or 50 cent difference here. We're talking about what could be literally hundreds of dollars over the next couple years.
Well, you're talking, you could, silver very easily could jump $5 an ounce in just days.
We've seen it. I watched, in 2011, you and I both watched the market on the gold side of this. I watched gold increase $80 in one day.
Well, when Brexit was announced, silver jumped $1 and
it did.
Gold jumped $100.
Exactly.
Things have kind of settled back down again, and they're still manipulating the gold and silver prices. But what did we close at this week?
Well, we're in the 1860 range, 70 range, 1870, which is really hilarious right now, folks, because you look at Friday's close. You're going to see basically a totally manipulated market. Prices that are absolutely ridiculous right now. People should be lined up in droves outside of our store right now, and they're not. And you want to know why? Because in general, Utahns buy on the up. Now, does that make any sense to you at all?
Well, we have sky-high bubbles in the markets, and the Fed apparently can't explain it all the way. They're academic-sounding gobbledygook to try and figure it out. The bottom line is our U.S. economy is not recovering. and I don't see it recovering anytime soon,
Well,
and neither does Yellen.
You know what? We've been in this business long enough to know that more people will buy silver as it's approaching $40 an ounce than they will when it's down into the $14 range.
Well, and if you want safety for you and your family, gold is the only gold or silver.
Well, you better get real, folks, because right now we're in the $1,350 range, $1,350 for 1 ounce of gold right now, and then plus a premium, because at that we're basically at spot, which is melt right now.
Well, and if you wake up and the dollar goes to zero, it's zero.
Yes.
But if gold and silver goes to zero, you
Right.
still have something to trade for food or for whatever.
And
you can always barter with it.
That's a really good point, Melody. The real truth about this is that, everyone, like I say, comes into this store. There's a lot of folks that come in. They're playing this little game with the COMEX market, which is a commodities market based out of Chicago, Illinois. And this market is based in derivatives. It is not based in real goods, folks. We are dealing in numbers that are so ridiculously stupid right now, I can't even share it with you.
Well, and let's talk about the mining. I mean, they're running out of production.
That's
They
the
can't
other
keep
problem.
up with the supply and demand, which makes no sense where the prices are.
It makes no sense at all. Silver is actually, I'm going to throw something out to you, folks. It's rarer than gold. I don't care what you say about it. It's the truth. The facts are that even the U.S. Treasury is having difficulty actually minting up those silver eagles you love so much. And so they've been putting moratoriums on this stuff because they're having a harder and harder time actually getting production.
Well, they aren't finding new mines.
That's true.
And so they're running out of
Silver-
places to get it.
Yep.
And so the production,
Silver's a secondary product.
Gold Corp management calculates that the gold production peaked in 2015, and the trends are all downhill from here.
Yeah.
And so in order to find and seek out new mines, it's
Correct.
going to be another 20 years before they can be up to production to keep up with the supply and demand.
Correct. And Mexico, by the way, folks, is the largest producer of silver in the world. And they're struggling. They're struggling keeping the demand is so high. Yeah, here's a weird thing for you folks. When in a capitalistic society, have you ever heard of an item that actually is difficult to get, but the price keeps going down? Are you?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, does it make any sense to you? See, it's not real, folks. We are being given this incredible gift right now. The gift is $18.70 silver. I mean,
well, and then there's
it's
a
just,
premium on that. But,
well, yeah, it doesn't
but even
matter.
Still, you're
we're
at
still
$20.
sub $25 silver
Oh my
all day
gosh.
long.
Yeah.
I mean, we're at $21, $22 with a premium on there. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. Folks, if you're thinking at all about actually putting some silver into storage for your own self, for your family, this is the time. There's not another time to wait for this to happen. I am sharing with you the absolute truth about what's going on in our society right now. We are in trouble, guys. We are in serious trouble. The time for delays and waiting and putting it off, those days are absolutely over. They're done for. So if you're going to continue to play it the same way, then your results will show that same thing. It is now time, and the reason I'm getting so bold about this, folks, is that there is no more time. It is
D-Day.
Yeah, we're done. I mean, we've got basically the end of September, and I doubt very much that you even got that. We're coming right back. Just hang in with us. Gold and silver is the purest money on earth. It can't be printed and it can't be created. Gold and silver is money and insurance for your family. We hope you never need it, but wouldn't you rather have peace of mind? The Gold Ore Store. Now is the time.
The Gold Ore Store, for your family's peace of mind. The Gold Ore Store, located on Main Street in historic downtown St. George.
Folks, this is Greg and Melody from the Gold Ore Store in St. George, Utah. 435-703-9119.
GoldOreStore.com.
GoldOre Store.com. And we are very excited to be back. We're looking and chatting today about the yuan being added to the basket of currencies, which is actually allowing them to receive and, basically become a king of the hill with the world reserve currency status. We are literally just a few weeks away from this actually occurring. September 30th is the day. They'll actually be included in that, the Chinese yuan will be included in that special drawing rights or SDRs basket, and it goes live, folks. This is not just conjecture. I'm not making this up. I'm not just creating this.
So
this
just back up a little bit and tell me, what do you mean by going live? What do you mean by basket? What do you mean?
What is happening here is that the Chinese yuan is being allowed and given this gift of basically acting what the U.S. dollar has controlled and been in control of for since 1944. Since the war, meaning that all currencies have to be converted into a Chinese yuan in order to purchase the major commodities around the world.
What does that do to the dollar bill?
Mashes it into crunchy little pieces. Burns it on the floor.
So, in other words, my buying power at the grocery store is going to become even less. Those bags of chips are going to get smaller and smaller, and those pizzas are going to get,
and price will increase in a sense. If they're taking a box of cereal and they're charging the same price, but they're making the box 30% less in size than it originally was. Is that not inflation?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're being literally played with.
Can they do that with gold?
Fraudulent, fake stuff, I guess. But the real deal. That's the thing about gold and silver. It can't be printed. It cannot be created.
Well, it has to be refined.
Yeah, but it cannot be created. A paper bill is actually a created product.
Right. It is paper.
Gold and silver are in the ground. They have to be, pulled out of the ground, then refined and made into bars. But that doesn't lessen the fact that they're still the gold or the silver. They actually came from the ground. Mm-hmm. I mean, our paper is coming from us killing trees, basically, right? But there's no intrinsic value in that paper because nothing is backing it. And so we're dealing with a non-backed fiat or fake money system. And it is about to change by September 30th. The Chinese yuan is now getting the same status and accolades as the U.S. dollar has ever since 1944. And Bretton Woods is what it was called. So we're now in a situation where we're looking at gold and silver at a much higher level than we ever have before. And for you two folks that are out there, Melody, you've got some numbers here that folks deserve to know about. They're pretty fascinating.
Well, I was just going to go over the history of actual numbers now. Numbers don't lie. This is actual fact here, guys. In 1990, you could buy an ounce of gold for $345.85 at its low, and at its high, $423.75. And if you speed forward to this year, you're looking at, what did it close at?
Well, about $1,350.
Okay, $1,300 an ounce, guys. Do the math. Did your 401k perform like that? Did any of your stocks perform like that? Wait. Let's
go back to the stocks. The stock market is looking fantastic, folks. We've had many heavy hitters in the stock market come into our store and tell us why would they want to do anything with their stocks. The stock market's on fire.
Well, and why would they want to do anything with their 401k when they're going to get penalized for pulling it out?
I'll tell you why. When the dollar's demise starts on September 4th and basically ends at some level on September 30th, we won't be discussing this anymore.
Why not? I'm still going to have to take a penalty if I pull that money out. If I want to convert it to gold, I don't want to have to pay the taxes and the penalties on top of that. I'd probably lose more.
You're going to lose more in the fact that the stock market is going to drop. We will see a crash. And that is going to happen.
How could that be more? How could that be more?
Well, you're going to lose an enormous amount. Do you remember in 1987 when, just after we got married, when the stock market went kaput?
Yeah.
And I believe it was about a 28% decrease on that. Mm-hmm. On that day, there were stockbrokers jumping out of windows in New York City.
Right. We've seen that in one day.
Yeah. We have seen that in one day. Yeah, where we lost 800 points.
Yeah, but it always seems to rally. And so, it's kind of a scary proposition to pull money out of a secured retirement fund and convert it to physical gold and silver, not really knowing what the market's going to do. And can I make it up?
Yes.
If I...
Yeah, one of the things that we're not financial advisors, folks, or attorneys, or CPAs, or anything like that. We're retailers. We're dealer brokers for gold and silver and other items in our store. So there's our caveat. But I will tell you that there is a possibility that you can take a look at doing this a different way. That is the fact of removing those funds from those various different entities, which are going to crash, and before the government takes it, by the way, and actually do something with it that will give you an increase. By means, if you're going to, you can delay the tax payment. In fact, actually, in reality, you don't owe until April 15th anyway. And so these monies can be pulled out, purchase the precious metals you wish to purchase with the value of the dollar attached thereto, and hold on to those. The increase that you make, off of either selling at the end of the year or the new year, you can actually pay those taxes with.
Okay, so how does it work? Okay, so I'm going to come in and I have $2,000 I want to invest in gold. Mm-hmm. How does that work, and what products would be to my best interest? How do you?
Well, it really depends on what you have an affinity for. A lot of folks actually like the 1 ounce, gold eagles, for instance.
Yeah, but I don't know that the standard Joe's going to have $1,300 or $1,400 for an ounce of gold.
In that case, we can do it in fractionals, and we also have the possibility of folks actually purchasing items that are not made by a state mint or the Treasury Department of any country that are privately minted. Many of these mints actually are located here in a great state of Utah, and so you can get a product that's actually made and keeping people in business and in jobs in the great state of Utah. That has some value as well. So there's fractional sizes, anywhere down to 1 gram all the way up to 1 gram, 1/10 of an ounce, 1/4 of an ounce, 1/2 of an ounce, 1 ounce, and then larger, much larger amounts than that. So that can assist folks in taking that amount of money and actually getting more, in a sense, for your money, because we expect gold prices to actually escalate to the point to where they're pretty much unattainable.
Now, if I'm investing in gold and silver, you keep talking about spot, and isn't there a premium on top of spot?
Yes,
how does that work? And how do I spend it once I have it and I need to buy milk with it? How do I break that up?
The price of gold and silver and all the precious metals are in a sense, regulated by this number every day that is called the COMEX. It's a commodities exchange out of Chicago, Illinois. These numbers are basically based on trading volumes that occur on a daily basis. They're not based on real hard goods actually changing hands. But this number is what the set number is that we all kind of have to work off right now. That is a set number. Then there's a buy rate that's attached to that. Even us as dealers, we have to pay more than whatever the spot rate is for those items. So there's what we pay for it, and basically we have to put a premium on that in order to make any money off of that particular product. That's
so. And then when I come and I want to cash it in, do I get that premium back?
Yes, it depends on where the market is. If the market has gone down, then you may not feel that. But the facts are, what other item can you take back to a dealer that you purchased it from and literally get that kind of money back on? There's nothing else like it in the entire world.
Yeah. So you can always liquidate it in a heartbeat.
Always. There's always dealers. There's always coin brokers. There's always people out there that are looking for gold and silver. It is money, folks. It's always been seen as money. The biggest thing I want to get through today is that we're dealing with a falling dollar. It is crashing. It is going to be dead here basically by September 4th. So you don't have much time. If you want to invest in gold and silver, or you've been thinking about it at all, it's time to come into the store and have a chat with us.
Now you can have a one-on-one with Greg. Just give us a call at 435-703-9119. And make sure, he's going to want to sit down with you one-on-one. You're welcome to just come on in if you know what you want to buy. I can assist you with that, and we can get you all taken care of. But if you need some time and have questions you want to ask, 435-703-9119.
Okay, folks, so thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate you spending some of your Sunday with us. We really honor that and are so grateful to be able to chat with you about these important things and going on in our world. And thank you so much. We appreciate you. Have a great weekend.
Join us every other Monday at 4 p.m. here on Fox News Radio for Silver Linings with Greg Neal. You can find Greg at the Gold Ore Store on historical Main Street in downtown St. George.